Hello and welcome to Refuge Woodworking. Today we're going to be building this now playing sign that turns off when you remove the album cover. Curious how I did it? Stick around, let's find out. Alright, so I've got my set of plans here. These will be for sale on my website. And what we need to do is we need to mock up kind of lay out our cuts on our wood. So I've got a piece of zebra wood and I got a very wobbly piece of maple here. Okay, so we got our line. So these are going to be roughly 15 inches. So I'm going to knock them, I'm going to put them at 16 so that we can, roughly get the size. So we're going to go somewhere here in the middle, just to break it down. Okay. So this is going to be our top and bottom piece. And our side pieces are about the same width. So we'll knock these out here. All right, so that's just kind of like the rough marking. So this is, we'll just say top, bottom, left side, and right side. So I've got the table saw sawed up, or the bandsaw I should say, and I'm using this gripper just because it's got a really level grip here. And what that'll allow me to do is take my time going through it. You don't want to push this faster than the teeth can cut, because what that'll do is send the, the teeth into a different area, and it'll start cutting down there and then come back eventually. So you want to take it slow, let the bandsaw cut at its speed. That way you get a nice, smoother cut and you don't lose as much material that you have to plane through with the planer. So anyway, we're going to get this cut. So this is that wobbly piece of maple. So what I saw somebody explain on how you go through with a wobbly piece is, rather than trying to hold it in the middle, you hold it where it contacts the table, and that takes down those sides to meet the wobbly piece. So I'm going to try that. So I'm going to hold my push sticks, here and here, and see if that improves and doesn't take off as much as maybe the other way would. Let's see. All right, that seemed to have worked. You can see here that this is a lot thicker than here, but I don't think it's going to take that much. So I think that actually saved a lot of the material, a lot more than I thought it would. So let's get this run through the planer and let's see what we end up with. All right, so it's the next day, and these didn't move at all, so that's good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plane them down to the right thickness, and then I'll get the pieces cut out. I did a test run on it. I just wanted to make sure that everything was going to route out it correctly. So I'm going to use the CNC to make this. If you don't have a CNC, you can do it by a router or something like that to do that. But since I've got it, I'm going to use it. For this piece of maple, it is about 3/8 of an inch. And what I'm going to do is it's going to cut the now plane out at a 1/4 inch depth. And the reason that I did that was it gives me a mold for the resin. And then if I show you on the sample, you see how the O and the P here, that I would lose that piece if I went all the way through. So by going just down a 1/4 inch out of 3/8, it gives me that backing for that mold, and then it holds those pieces in place. Once the resin is cured, then I'll send it through the planer and get it to the right thickness, which is a 1/4 of an inch. Alrighty, so I just cleaned up any little fuzzies that were in here with just an X-Acto blade. So now what I'm going to do is mix up some Alumilite Amazing Clear Cast. It's a little bit colored, it's a little old, but I think it'll still be okay. And I'm going to mix it with some red dye and then some interference red. Don't know how that's going to come out. I just want a touch of the red, and this goes a long way. So I just want a hint of it. So this is a little different than the resin that I make with pen blanks and things, as this has to be made mixed by volume. So you can't use the scale on this stuff. So what I've done is I took a ruler and let me see if you can find it there. So I took a ruler, measured down 1 inch on both of these containers, and that's where I'm going to fill them up to. Then once I have the levels right, then I'm going to pour it both into here, hopefully making equal parts, you know, what's going to be left behind. So that's kind of how you use this amazing clear cast. Then I'll pour it into one of these little containers just to get a little bit more control, putting it into the letters. All right, so you may be wondering why I poured it so thick. The reason is if you get it just at the surface, then when the resin seeps into the wood a bit, it's going to go down inside of it. And so what I want is I want it proud of the surface so that when I run it through the planer, I'm going to get a nice clean top that's where the resin's always all the way at the top. So that's why I poured it so heavy. Right, so now we got this top face cleaned up, looks good. Now what I want to do is plane the back side until I see the resin. I'm going to be taking very light passes because I want to preserve as much thickness as I can on this. I've got a flat tooth blade mounted in here. I set it up off camera so that it is a 1/4 inch deep. So we need this groove. This is where our now playing part's going to be. So what I'm going to have to do is, because it's 1/8 of an inch in the sign, the front is a little less than a 1/4 inch. So I'm going to have to bump it over a little bit. I'll use this piece here as my test cut until we get the front of that to stick in. So that's what we're going to do now. Alrighty, so I got all of the grooves cut in. Now I need to cut a rabbet in the back to put the back piece on. It's about a 1/4 inch thick. So I've got a 1/4 inch setup bar here, and this is a bearing to give me a 1/4 inch cut. So it's 1/4 inch wide and 1/4 inch deep. So now I just got to set this up to give me that 1/4 inch deep. Come on. Perfect fit. All right, so I know it's good, so now I'll just do the rest of them. What we need to do now is cut a recess in here that the switch is going to poke up through, and this little cover, or whatever you want to call it, the record cover is going to lean up against it. So you can cut this out with a router, make yourself a template, but I got a CNC, so I'm going to use it. Okay, so that went really well. So the last operation is going to be cut an angle here to have that lean. And this is a 60-degree V-bit, and it's going to just cut along this outside line here and give me that right angle. Let me show you the setup that I've got here for the cutting the angle. So this is just a small part sled, and the line right here is where the angle is going to be. So what I've got is this corner lined up here, because I don't want to take any width off of the piece. I just want to be able to cut the 45 and in there. So that's what I've got going on for the angle. Okay. All right, I think it's fitting nicely together. So now what I need to do is need to make this piece here that's going to go up here like this here. So then after I do that, then I can start the sanding process. All right, now that we've got it cut to the right size, we need to put a radius on it, like here you see in the drawing. And what I've got here are some radius gauges that I just 3D printed. So I'm just gonna find one. You can also use a paint can or any other round object that you got. But it's the first time using these, so I was curious to see what it would look like if I, you know, tried it. That looks good. Okay, so it may be hard to tell, but there's a bit of a bevel on here leaning back, and that's why I was sanding that little angle in it. Hopefully you can see it. Yeah, you can see it there. So that when the angle, you know, it's tied up against here, it's making connection on two sides. That way I've got 2 points of glue. So I think that is all the cutting. Now just need to sand this thing down. I'll show a little bit, but I'm gonna go from, you know, 120 up to 240. I may go to 320, but I think 240 will be good. So anyway, let's get to sanding. All right, everything's sanded up to 240, except for the now playing. I did that up to 600 for the resin's sake. So that's all good to go. Before I apply a finish, because I am going to apply a finish to the inside before I put it all together and glue it up. But what I want to do is start planning out for the electronics. So this is what we've got. This is just a strip of RGB LEDs, and it's just got a sticky back on it. And then you can cut anywhere there's the 4 copper pieces. So that's where we can cut it. And then we've got to wire in this switch. I just got it on a piece of double stick tape. Should be fine. If I need to, I can put some screws in right here. But anyway, so what that's going to do is go through the hole, and it's positioned just about right, sticking out enough for the record cover to hit that. And then that's going to connect the circuit and should turn the LEDs on and light up this. So it's in a spot where it's a little hard to put a clamp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some CA glue. If you want some Star Bond, look down in the description for a URL and 15% off, and just the regular old wood glue. So this will act as a clamp because it dries a lot faster, and then this will give you that permanent bond. So what I'm going to do is just assemble it and then move it around until I got it to a place that I like, and then I'll throw on some activator and that should lock it in place. Off camera, I did the lights, and you have to do it the way that you feel it's best. But basically, I just wrapped all of them around because I didn't feel like it was bright enough. So basically, on the negative, you've got the switch coming here. So I just split it here, and on this switch, when you depress it, it makes the connection. So this is the normally open side. This is the normally closed side. So when these two negatives connect, I should say, it closes the circuit and it comes on. So the idea is that when that record sits here, it comes on. It's kind of hard to see in here, but it's not very bright, but it does get brighter when you put the back on. So now what we need to do is we need to glue this piece in. And just like before, I'm going to use some wood glue and the CA glue for a clamp. So let's get that going. That's going to wrap things up. I hope you had as much fun as I did coming along on this journey with me. If you want to make one of these yourself, and down in the description, there'll be a link so that you can download the plans. Give it that thumbs up if you liked it. Drop a comment if, to share your thoughts with me, and share it with somebody that might like this video. All of those things help me out on the channel. Doesn't cost you a dime. If you are new here or been here for a little bit and you want to see other videos, click up here. If you want to become a subscriber, click down here. Click that bell so that you're notified when I upload a new video. And as always, I wish you and your family a blessed day. Thank you.